as well.
I think we are on
Oh,
Periscope as well.
nice.
Yeah. And hi everyone. Welcome to Dr. Mix live streaming session. And I hope you're doing well. Let me see. Hey Dom. Hey Aaron. Want to say hi?
Hi guys.
Hey.
Wow.
Claudio, I think I can still see this one.
Yeah.
If you can remove it.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna go well.
It looks like
very
you're in a
soon.
cage or something.
No, I'm quite alright. So welcome to our live streaming, and I'm very proud of being featuring your mixes today. Yes, this is a live stream mix critique session where we're going to listen to your music. We have selected between all of the yeah. It works well, right?
Grid lines.
Grid lines.
Grid lines.
We
Oh
still
yeah,
have
the
grid
grid lines.
lines.
Oh, okay, just the.
I know
grid lines.
you're crazy with your
Okay,
you
don't
know,
worry, done.
framing, but
All right. So what was I gonna say? I was gonna say that we're ready with your mixes, and we're going to play them and critique them for you. By the way, Dom, how was your week?
pretty busy. It was hectic week in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a few things, quite a few productions actually this week. So it was very interesting. But we had some nice, productions with Christmas songs. So it was, it's preparing us to get into the mood.
You were telling me about
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah, the Christmas mixes started coming in from about last month, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Did
Oh
you
wow.
say Christmas?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
It's this event that happens every year, celebrated by. Do you want me to actually give you a definition, or?
This ball is in my way, by the way. Anyway, all right.
Leave
So
it stuff in the beginning.
as promised, I am going to announce the winners of the mixing course, free mixing course, and I am gonna give out discount codes and lots more surprises. In the meantime, Dom, Aaron, how about if we go for the first mix?
Yeah. Should we start from the beginning?
Yeah.
So this first one is called "Look at You," and it was sent in by Peter Lep.
Should we just
Let me-
give a disclaimer first and explain our setup so
Oh,
that
yeah.
you guys
Do you
know
wanna
what
talk
we're
about
doing? Just so that we have quite a few things to go through. So basically, right now we're using our platform is our mastering platform. It's Wavelab, so that we have loudness meters right there. If you can see, we have a spectrometer and our live spectrogram, which allows us to. This is more for restoration, but also it allows us to see some problematic frequencies. But what we've done here, because of course we don't want to make you deaf or blow up your speakers, because every mix that we received was in different levels, we went on Wavelab and basically level matched them by a certain LUFS value, which is basically what happens when you upload your music on iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube. So basically we make sure that we're not going to blow up your
Yeah.
speakers
So
or
we've
your
made
ears.
sure that the average level across the track is the same for everything, so the dynamics are still there. We haven't actually compressed it or anything. It's just brought it
Exactly.
all down.
But just because some people send mixes that were very quiet and then we would have to turn it up, then the next mix would probably blow up your speaker. So we didn't want to do that. So, yep.
Okay,
Cool.
I think that's out of the way. The first mix was "Look at You" by Peter Lebink. So we'll press play on that.
So glad I made you laugh. I thought you remembered who you are. You lit up for a second before your mind just wandered off. Ooh, you've seen the world and traveled far. But does it really matter? In the end, you only are just what you are. A whole lot of memories
Do you
So
wanna
maybe
jump
we should
to
move
the-
on to the louder section. Let's maybe here. Let's see if we can get some snare. Right. Cool. Should we say a few things?
Yeah, do you want to start?
Should I start from the very top? Okay. I mean, the first thing that I could say for this, because it's a very common mistake. Of course, there's no point in saying what's good. We're just gonna say what we feel is like. You know, why are you laughing? What's what could be improved. That's because that would be helpful. I feel that in the beginning, the guitars are a little bit too thin.
Yes.
And the fact that there's no bass, there's no kick drum, there's no low end. I mean, they could be a little bit fuller. I'm not sure if you've added a filter there, Peter. I'm not sure if you filter them out, but I would still keep some of the low mids because it feels a little bit almost like like a shaker kind of type of thing.
I think he's done that because it features at the end where everything comes in. So
Mm.
that's a good thing to do it towards the end, but maybe you can
Absolutely.
do them
yeah.
on separate tracks or do automation.
Yeah. I mean, I would just leave a little bit more. I mean, unless it's recorded this way, which means that I would do something like a trick to give a little bit of low mids, a little bit of low end. So maybe
Re-record
add
it.
some saturation or re-record them. But let's say that's not an option. I think you could just add some tape saturation or some tube saturation and then blend it in, so that you don't have this very obvious kind of saturated sound. But that's my first suggestion. That I feel in the beginning there's nothing else going on. It's just the guitars. I feel they could, we could have a little bit more girth. to the
I feel
guitars.
because they're so thin and because there doesn't seem to be much ambience on them, they feel more forward in the mix to me than the vocal, which has quite a lot of effects on,
Mhm.
and therefore they distract from the vocal as well, which is
Mhm.
quite dark. The vocal's quite dark throughout this track, which
No,
is
that's-
cool, but it
No, I
they
like.
feel
I
ahead of
know
it.
that this is like a style, like a mixing decision. It could be a mixing decision. Some people tend to have the guitars almost like a shaker, almost like a percussive element in the mix. But since the arrangement here doesn't support that, it's just a guitar. So now we have the bass. Yes, it makes much more sense.
I still feel like it distracts from the vocal. though.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to me like there's piezo guitar blended in. I'm not sure if that's or some weird EQing. But if there's a piezo, that tends to give that kind of glassy kind of sound. That's kind of metallic. Maybe you can lower it in the mix if you have both a mic'd version and a piezo version. So yeah, I'm not sure if you want to go through the next part.
Yeah, should we jump back to the spit? I feel like the low end in this section especially it's quite uneven. I think
agree.
maybe you can do some multi-band compression, tighten up that bass low end so it's consistently there.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on with our. I also feel that maybe a little bit more transients on the drums could help. I'm not sure what you guys think.
I think the drums are pretty good, but yeah.
But I mean, like a little bit, not too much.
Yeah, it's definitely on the
Like the
Less
bass.
or
I
less
want
on
to
the
hear
snare.
that kick drum a little bit more.
Yeah. Also, I think that in general I can feel a little bit not enough separation between instruments. It feels like everything is a little bit muddy and things are not well separated, and that makes me think that maybe there was no bus routing, which is necessary. So what you do with bus routing is you group different instruments together so that you can give them an individual flavor. I mean, there are various reasons why you want to create buses, different buses, but the one thing is that it helps also achieve separation. I don't know if Dom or Aaron, you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. You want to go?
No, you can go over it.
Okay, I can
I'll
go.
let you to do this one.
I mean, of course, it's not possible for us to know if there was bus routing or if there wasn't. But the thing is, for the guitars, for example, it might be a good idea that you basically duck them when you have a little bit of the vocals, so that the vocals can cut through. Because of course, the vocals are very warm. The voice is not a high-pitched voice; it's more like a baritone version. Yeah, it's so. It can't cut through the electric guitars unless you help a little bit, if you sculpt the guitars a little bit, and that helps a lot when you do bus routing, because you can add like multi-band compressors and sidechain it to the vocals, and then you get just this kind of frequency range ducked when the vocals come in. But I feel that it's not like yeah, I have to second what Aaron said. I feel that the low end is a little bit loose. I feel that you could use some side chain with the kick drum and the bass, because it feels like when they don't fall together, I'm not sure if you quantize the bass, if you audio quantize the bass, but it feels like sometimes they're not exactly together, which is fine because it's human. But if you add some side chain, then all of a sudden when the kick drum hits, the bass will just duck. So it feels like they're more tight than they really are. So it's a trick.
It's also the physics of the speaker. Like if you've got the kick drum pushing outwards, you're getting power. If you've got the kick drum pushing outwards and the bass is not responding and following at it, it's trying to do like a weird movement.
Exactly.
And it doesn't, you don't generate the same sort of power and movement that you get.
The thing that I'm hearing right now is exactly that. You need some sidechain compression from the kick drum to the bass, so that you don't get this kind of low end that fluctuates over time. Other than that, I think the vocals need a little bit more, maybe some parallel compression, so that we can hear all the words very clearly.
Yeah, cut through the mix a little bit more. Yeah, I felt that.
The guitar, I feel the solo could use a little bit more space. I don't know, maybe some delay, maybe the reverb is a little bit short. It sounds to me more like a room reverb when it should be more like maybe a plate. Maybe a little bit more stereo. It depends. I mean, there are so many tricks that you can do with reverb to make like a more three-dimensional space in your mix. I mean, the reverb, in my opinion, is like an instrument. So, you have to know your instruments and use them correct place at the correct place, correct time, and so on and so forth. So
should we move on to the next track?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Peter is watching right now, but I think we should go on to the next track.
Okay, the next one is called Eating Away, and it's by Julian M. Okay, let's play that.
All right.
Fire
Should we jump to this section?
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Do you want to start or shall I start?
I'll just say one thing before I forget. I
Go
think
for
this
it.
tambourine needs a little bit of space. This tambourine right there, that's
Play it? Because I didn't focus on that. Ooh, yeah.
it sounds like I'm not sure if it's a sample or if you actually I think it needs a little bit of space, some reverb or something.
Sounds like the tambourine sort of here and the band are playing in the next room or something, doesn't it? It feels a bit disconnected. Did you have anything else you wanted to add on
No,
that?
you can
Okay,
go
okay.
first, and
I'll go
I
first.
have my notes.
The guitar in the intro, this lead guitar, I feel that when the vocal comes in here, it feels like that lead guitar is a little bit ahead of the vocal as well. The vocal gets lost a little bit behind it. So that could be a volume thing. It could be... It's quite a lot of ambience on those vocals again, actually. I felt that could use some changing. I felt the rhythm guitars in the main section, which was what here? They sound like... It's what I refer to as the cardboard region of guitars. Sort of that 650 hertz region that sounds very flat. If you cut that quite often, it suddenly, the guitars, they feel less, I don't know, like sterile, I guess. What else did I say? I felt the bass guitar sort of in that 200 hertz region. I want to hear more of the notes.
Yep.
Sort of between 200 to 300.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you
I think
agreed.
there's a little bit too much nasal frequencies in the bass, especially in the beginning when I can hear he plays. There are some. It goes down one octave, and I can feel that I'm losing the notes.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think
agree.
there's an F or something somewhere.
It's after this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I have again a reverb. Okay.
What about reverb today?
Okay. I love the pre-delay on this passage because it's like it's a very nice moment to highlight this vocal because everything stops. I love this pre-delay. I'm not sure if you use the pre-delay or if you use the delay before the reverb. The only objection that I have is the reverb. It's very thin. I would prefer it a little bit warmer, with a little bit more low end. Not too much, of course. But again, it's just on the vocal, so it cannot have like loads of low end. But it sounds a little bit like it's a great idea. It's either the wrong reverb or it's a wrongly, to my ears, processed reverb. It sounds like it's filtered all the way below like 1K or something. So it's like very, very thin. But the idea is great. It's fantastic. But I would still make it a little bit beefier. Maybe find like a... Maybe you're using like a... I'm not sure what reverb you're using there. But maybe like a better quality reverb. That's just what I feel. I mean, because this is a great spot.
That doesn't have to be an expensive reverb. There's some really good.
Oh
cheaper
yeah.
reverbs.
No, I mean when
the
I mean
stock Cubase one is great. I really like it on vocals.
No, absolutely, exactly. I don't mean like better quality.
Yeah.
I meant more expensive. I mean better quality.
No, I think you said better
because
quality.
there are
I just
some
wanted to
there are
point out it
some
doesn't have
there
to
are some
be.
reverbs that are just thin.
Yeah.
You know, I have some in mind, and it also sounds a little bit narrow, which is not a bad thing because you have this kind of vintage, kind of old school vibe. I think it should be a plate, short plate, but a little bit more like, can I say a few names? More like a Lexicon or TC
I was gonna say,
vibe.
if you want to go for a cheap plate, that would sound really good on that. The little plate from Sound Toys, which is it currently still free?
I don't know,
Can't
but this
remember.
plugin is
I love that plugin.
fantastic. I'm not sure if it would be as short for this one because I don't think it can go very short.
I
Can
think
it?
you can.
Like 0.5 or something can
I
go.
think maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit bigger than life, this reverb. That's why I
Yeah.
love it. It's fantastic. If you didn't get it, guys, and it's still free, just go and pick it up. It's a great reverb, and it's gonna be like $99 if after the. This
I don't know.
deal.
I just picked it up
Yeah.
straight away. And that's
Anyway, go get it. Shout out. But yeah, that's what I have to say for the vocals and the. I think the vocals you're very lucky. I'm not sure if it's you're singing, but your vocals cut through. I would still compress them a little bit more evenly, so that again I feel that they fluctuate a little bit. They go like jump. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure what DAW you're using for this one. I think we would use the vintage compressor from
That's a good one.
Cubase 1176 type of emulation, or should I say distressor because it's very hip right now. Yeah, I mean you could use the Slate Digital, the distressor plugin is fantastic. It would work amazingly for this
Yeah.
one. Guitars, I think you covered it. Maybe I would make it a little bit brighter. I mean, I get this kind of muffled sound.
Yeah, I think if you take out the
Little bit.
mids, it will sound brighter.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the guitars could be a little bit wider as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can keep them like they are, very narrow right now, and then just expand them in the choruses so that you can get like a nice,
Yeah, like
you know,
it
more of
expands in the
a,
choruses.
yeah, larger than life effect in the choruses.
Which is
I
a nice
think.
change.
Yeah.
Cool. Next track.
Yes.
In the meantime, if you allow me, I would like to remind that I have posted the £15 discount on any mixing and mastering package or remix and production package for that matter. You can see it in the description, which I think I managed to change, and it's the code LiveXmas 17, like live Christmas 17, and you can claim it throughout this weekend up until Sunday night at midnight UK time. And I will follow up with some more goodies for you as a way to say thank you for tuning in. In fact, I would thank you double time if you would share this link and this live streaming if you find it interesting. So I will interrupt a lot less in the future and let the boys talk.
You
Go-
know, you can jump in for, if you want
Okay,
to.
wait. Done. You happy?
Hey, Sumbi, how are you?
Hi, Sumbi. Hey, good to see
How's
you.
it going? Yeah, you could make
What's
it
he
brighter
saying?
in the master, but I mean, of course, you could always. It's better that you fix those problems before you get into the mastering stage.
Mix like there's no mastering, right?
Yeah, mix like that's a good one. I like it.
That's a very good one. Very good one.
Thanks,
Love it.
Joy.
I stole
That's
it from
really
somewhere.
really sweet. Thanks, Joy. Cheers, man.
Oh.
Oh, thanks, man.
Shall we go on to the next
Yeah,
track?
let's go to the next one.
Okay, this one is from Stuart Leiter, and it's called Get It All Out. So let's hit play on that.
I
actually see the solo right here. Cool. All right. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Do you want to go?
I have the benefit of having mixed this guy. I think I've done 2 albums for him now.
All right.
So I know a
Cool.
little
Yeah,
bit more
I
behind the scenes.
recognize the.
The vocal seems very narrow, which is weird because I know he usually records 3 vocal tracks. I don't know if he has how he has them panned, but I would probably put them. I think I usually put them one straight down the middle, one sort of a third left, one a third right, and the 2 doubles pulled back a little bit in volume.
What was the name of the? I can't remember. I've definitely heard this voice before.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
We've done a lot for him.
Yeah.
The main thing, I really like this track. I think it has a really definite vibe. I think all this stuff has a really nice dark vibe. The thing that I feel is missing about this is the separation between instruments, especially. I think there needs to be a lot more EQ carving. I felt that the kick was missing quite a bit.
Also the snare a little bit tended to drown a little bit in the choruses. I felt.
Yeah, no, the drums in general needed to poke out a little bit more. I felt that the cymbals poked out a little bit too much in some sections and could use some compression. There were a few, a real bugbear of mine is the whistly frequencies and overheads. And in cymbals, you get sort of like a very consistent whistling tone that if you pull it out, it actually sounds wider because you don't have that consistent thing. That can either be done through a lot of practice of hearing those frequencies and knowing how much to pull them out, or you can cheat and use my favorite plugin, which is Soothe by OEK Sound, which
is your favorite plugin?
Yes.
currently, because it saves me so much time.
That's good. No, I know.
So much time. It's a dynamic EQ, but it's an intelligent dynamic EQ that actually finds those frequencies for you, and you can adjust how responsive it is in different frequency areas. And for cleaning up stuff like that, or like vocals that have been recorded on a bad microphone where you have that like pinch frequency in the top end, it takes care of that in no time.
It's really good. I use it for vocals more
really
than
good.
anything else, but yeah, it's pretty
Very
awesome.
good. I think Paul Lucas from YouTube is observing, and I would like to know what you guys think. Guitars sound a little bit over compressed, and he says that less compression would give guitars more bite. What's your take, guys, on this?
Well, I think I mean, to be honest with you, that's such a specific, special musical style. You can't really say, yes, the drums are dark, but they're supposed to be. I mean, you can say that's modern rock music. You want to have drums that are more punchy, brighter, and so on and so forth. The CLA sound and blah blah blah. But it wouldn't work on this one.
No, it's got more of a Manchester
I
Orchestra
would say
vibe.
the vocals, if anything else. I mean, the guitars, I don't think they're compressed, in my opinion. I think it's just the distortion and the amp
that's what I was gonna
settings
say.
that Stuart has used. But I feel that, I mean, the vocals, they scream distortion. They scream like, okay, they scream like they need some processing in terms of saturation, a little bit more grittier sound. It feels like that was the intention,
Andre Timothy is saying, can you please play the mix just one more time quickly?
Yep. Maybe from the beginning.
From the beginning? Okay.
I'll tell you one thing that I would do on this track.
Tell me, 'cause there's
Tell
one
us.
thing that stands out to me.
Okay, I know this is supposed to be dirty. Is this supposed to be kind of
Grungy.
yeah. Still, I feel the guitars are really nice, and the one thing that I would do is I would stretch them so that I can make them a little bit tighter.
Right.
I feel there are some great riffs, but it's kind of distracting because they don't fall together at the same time, and that's not a bad thing. We're all human, and even on the biggest productions you can find those things. It's not a bad thing necessarily. But for this one, I would feel that because there are so many great riffs, I would like to hear them tighter, because the guitar sounds are different on each speaker, which already makes it really wide. But but if you make them a little bit tighter, I think they would have more impact.
Yeah,
So I would just, rhythm edit them.
that's
A
not where
little
I thought
bit.
you were going to go. I thought you were going to talk about the lead guitar.
I mean, we can talk about many things, but that's the first thing that struck me when I was listening to both of them, the separate speakers. I was like, that's good sound, but I could hear that they are okay. It was kind of disorientating sometimes. I was like, okay, this is a cool. They played that now. So I would, but again, I mean, it depends on what you want. You might want it to be very loose. I just feel that for this particular track, it would work if you edited the guitar part so that at least one matches the other, and they're not necessarily that they are completely on time and quantized, but at least one follows the other one a little bit closer.
About the lead guitar, I was going to say, I feel like it needs a little bit more of a push. I don't know how else to describe that, but if it was me and I was mixing this one,
Mm-hmm.
I would get some form of a tube screamer plug-in or an emulation, or actually even reamp it through a tube screamer, because it will just push that mid-range nicely and take away some of the lows on its own, and it gives it, like, it's that sound that has been used on so many records that when it's not there, you just know, oh, I want that sound.
Claudia, I think we need to tell everyone about the guitar course, by the way. Now that Aaron is
point.
going
Actually,
deep into
this
guitars.
this is a great occasion to be speaking about that, because we have done a course that's called How to Create Great Guitar Tones in the Box, where we address all of these problems that we're talking about. And Mehmet, our Bachi, in fact, is asking what compressor are we talking about. Well, this is quite a deep subject, so I think that it would be a good idea to check out our course. There are also some free episodes that you can check. And do you know what? Whilst the guys keep on talking about it, I will create a discount code for you guys to get both the mixing course and the guitar course, the guitar mixing course, 50% off. So I'll let you guys go on with that.
No, I mean, hey, Dimitris.
Hey, man.
Hey,
I
Dimitris.
think you have time for some rhythm edit, maybe.
Yeah, I hope you do.
Yeah, I totally agree with Aaron. I think it needs a little bit of, kind of liquid. I don't know. That I like to describe it as liquid distortion. There are so many great plugins, and we talk about them on the course. But like, just to name a few, of course, there's Guitar Rig. There's Amplitube, which is brilliant. There's even this stock Cubase VST amp rack is pretty good. There's Bias, which is also fantastic. There's the new Line 6 Helix, which we're just trying. Stay tuned for a review. It's pretty awesome. So, I mean, just adding this in the chain and basically boosting the signal, see what happens. Let's not even go into hardware, and it's gonna take us all day.
Yeah. No, we touch a lot on how to get different guitar tones in our course, but we also talk about mixing them. So I think that's
and
a
also
useful
how
resource
to
if you
edit
want that.
them, how to time correct them. Anyway, that's just just because you wanted to go deeper into the guitar thing.
I always want to go
So,
deeper into
Of
guitars.
course.
Should we go on to the next track?
Yes.
Do you want to say the name of this one for a change?
This is Chemins Chalet from Yell.
Yell. Okay.
Chemins is an instrument, isn't it?
Yeah. If you say so. Do you want to jump a bit further ahead, Dom?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Let's see. I think this is. Yeah, it adds more elements. Let's.
That's what you're trying to do.
I think there were some vocals, right? Somewhere maybe
So-
around here. Okay.
I like this. You know this, guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive there were some vocals. Let's skip to this one. Okay. Quite a few elements.
Nice bass line.
Hmm. I think they're here.
You're about to be
Pretty
right.
sure. Come on. Can I be so wrong? Yeah.
This is so cool.
Nice.
Trying something already. Cool.
Should we just head towards the end a bit more?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Position. The outro.
Cool. You wanna go first?
Up to you.
To me? Okay. Okay. I think it's nicely balanced. It's not. There's nothing that sticks out a lot. The thing I was doing before is I think the drums need a little bit more punch, especially if this is supposed to be like a like a pop or dance track. I think a little bit more punch in the low end. Just doing it the dirty way right now with the multi-band envelope shaper. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, check out here, check out the live spectrogram and see how the low end is represented when I turn on the multi-band envelope shaper, how much more defined it gets. So that's without and with. And also I can make it a little bit more tight. I love this bass here. I think you could use a little bit more sidechain from the kick drum. What else? Maybe
I have a few observations, if I may.
okay. You want to go?
Yeah, I think that that this track has that sort of house vibe. So I think it's very functional for the dance floor. I do agree with you, Dom, that it could use a little bit more push in the low
more
end.
oomph, a little bit more, so that I can I can dance.
Yeah, exactly, because it would make it a little bit more dance floor efficient. But I found to also to be saying the things that are good about tracks, that it was a good balance
Mm-hmm.
of the percussions and different sections coming one after the other in order to keep the interest going.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this track is well produced, and
Definitely.
I really like those vocals. Because one of the thing with electronic dance music, not as in EDM, but as in house, techno, and all the club music, has this sort of tie to the club, to what happens with music locally. And I think this is a good representation of what happens with dance music in this style, in a particular sort of style like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. There were a couple of things that I noticed. I think that the hi-hat in this beginning section, because everything here is so dark, when the hi-hat comes in, it's very, very bright. And I felt it sort of struck me. I don't mind that it's much brighter because you have that dynamic contrast, but I think it's a little bit overpowering. So I'd bring it down in that section just in volume a little bit. The other thing that I felt was that there are some really nice fills, especially in the percussion.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they were a little bit, I'd like to highlight them more, I think. If I was mixing this, I'd bring them up in level because there's some really cool stuff in the percussion. I think during maybe this section. There's like some wood blocks and stuff I think going on there. Very soft, and it helps the track move and jump a bit.
I love that bit.
It's cool.
I mean, the only thing, the only thing that I would say in terms of tonal balance, it's that it sounds just a little bit recessed in the mid range. So I hear a lot
Yeah,
of
I agree that.
I'll hear a boom boom boom, but I cannot hear, like mids, for example. I mean, if there was no way to go back to the mix and we had to master this, then we would have to go into MS and, for example, go like this. Let's see what goes on in the mid range. So these are the elements that are on the side. So I can hear that. But then I'm missing the mids on the mid channel. Of course, there is not much information there to begin with because it's just the vocal and then everything else is bass and percussion. But still, this kind of mid-range, see, I mean, if you see the actual, see how it goes like this, it kind of, it's very scooped. So I would try and maybe add a bit of, maybe some saturation, some harmonic distortion to the elements so that it fills this gap. It feels very smiley, how can I say that? But the only problem with that, and it's not really a problem, but it will sound a little bit quieter no matter how loud you master it.
Yeah.
It will sound quieter because it's not mid-range, which is like the most sensitive. Our ear is the most sensitive at. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that if you want to gain a little bit more present and make it a little bit more competitive, also on the dance floor, a little bit more mids would help. And and also I also understand the general vibe of this, where it's got to be like a round, embracing sound. So I think it should
yeah, I
should be
mean,
like a balance.
since there's this really nice vocal in there, I would just make it a little bit fuller because there's so much space. I mean, you can really get away with adding like a little bit more low mids. You don't have to filter it too much. I feel that it's a little bit too safe right now. You can make it a little bit fuller, maybe even darker, I might say. You know, it sounded quite bright. Not like in a problematic way, but in terms of artistic direction, I would say a little bit darker, a little bit fuller. I don't know what you think, Claudio, Aaron.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
just so that you feel this kind of mid-range, and it feels that this new element, it's not like a top-end kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's more like a, okay, wow, this is like a, you know, badass singer right now
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that
yeah.
started singing,
Mm.
and you
Yep.
know, we want to pay tribute to that. So anyway, that's just my impression, but I agree with you. It's I think it's, like I said, the first thing, it sounds pretty
That's really
balanced.
good. Yeah. Should we go on to the next one?
Yep, let's do it.
My Chemical Romance by Marcus Brutus.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's quite dark. That's quite intense.
Mm-hmm.
As I, it's quite cinematic actually.
Hmm.
I could see this also for synchronization,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, instrumental versions are good for synchronization, especially.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
because yeah, I mean it's sounded quite powerful. What do you think, Aaron?
I thought the drums were really good. I felt that they were, for the first time out of the mixes we've gone through, a little bit too much transient. I think the kick drum felt very pokey. I think it could use some sort of more disdain. I think also on the bass as well. I felt. I think you might actually be able to do that with a transient design now. If we bring this up. Should we set the settings? Like that feels like a little bit more fuller to me, a little bit more ambient than. See what I mean?
Yep.
Is it just because it's not like there's not like loads of kick drums going on, it's not fast. There's sort of quite a lot of space for that to bloom and fill in between the hits, and I think it needs that.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
I also felt. I think it's pretty good. I mean, my observations would be, again, Let me do something.
Go
I
for it.
like the snare drum a lot. I just feel that in the context of the mix, you could do something like this. I would add a little bit of body to the snare. It sounds very transient, like Aaron
You
said.
mean top end? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
I know what you mean.
but I'm missing the kind of the low end of the snare.
It needs some more thwack.
Yeah,
right?
like 170. Let's see where it is. It's high pitched actually. It's around 200, but well, a nice plugin to kind of make it a little bit more. You know what I'm gonna say,
I
right?
think so. I'll let you say it.
To make it a little bit deeper would be, I forgot the name, the new Waves one.
Talk.
Torque. Yeah, that's really nice. It would work great on this one. And I can give you a little trick. You don't have to change the snare, because the snare you might like it like that, right? You might be like, okay, that's a good snare. I don't want to change that. I want to make it deeper. But what you can do is you can send the snare to a short reverb, like a room reverb, and then use torque or any pitch, manipulator, plugin, anything that can tune down something, audio, and basically turn down the reverb. And you will get like a full sound coming out of the room sound of the snare. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a great trick, and the thing is, you don't have to sacrifice your snare, because when you tune it down, it sounds a little bit. You might lose some things. Also, tuning drums in the DAW sometimes can produce
Messes with the transient,
artifacts.
right?
Exactly.
Torque is
But-
very good because it protects that. Protects that really nicely.
But if you still want to maintain it, that's a very good trick. Because this one, the problem that I would find on this specific snare drum is that it's on 200. Yeah. There's nothing else below that. So it can sound a little bit boxy and a little bit nasal sometimes. So that's one thing. I would definitely add some reverb to the snare, as I would add some reverb on the toms when there's this breakdown. Where is it? Yeah, For this one, I would either use VSS3 from TC Electronic easily.
Your favorite?
I love reverbs. Not long, but just to give it a little bit of
Room.
3D. It's a little bit. I know where you're getting. You want to get this kind of dramatic gong gong gong. Like this to me is like almost like a live show where you see like a rock band, and it's like the drummer is like. So you want this like tail, this little bit of release on the toms. And then I'm missing it here. See, I hear I can hear the release of the sample, kung 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 kung,
Yeah.
but I don't hear the natural tail. This you can get with reverb. I would use either VSS3 or Revelation, which is a stock plugin inside Cubase. It will work just as good. I know I think this has to be dramatic. I like the distortion that you have on the bass. The only problem with the bass is because you go up to high registers, at some points I feel like I am missing the lower harmonics. So it feels like the track is kind of it's kind of hanging in the air. So I'm not sure if you could add like subharmonic, like a harmonizer, maybe like R bass or so many of them. But R bass would be like a very safe choice, just to give it a little bit of there's still low end there. I totally agree with Aaron. Yeah, this is a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I feel this is a production thing, but I feel that this is a great arrangement. I feel that it misses some elements somewhere in between to feel some gap, because I can hear the piano, I can hear the low end, but there's nothing.
You want like a mid-range pad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something like either like a synth or like an arpeggiator, something like a pulse, Dun, gong, 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 so that it drives it, you know. It's great, but I feel that, you know, because the drums are like, but if you, because the bass is not playing the root all the time, if you had like a nice analog kind of thing to drive, like a gong 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 gong, really wide to feel this gap, you know, that would be amazing. Again, I don't know what this is, what's the purpose of this track, so it might not work for what I'm suggesting, but I feel that, you know, it needs this dun dun, because the drums are to puff, puff, and I feel that we miss this. If the bass was playing dun 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 dun, then yes, no problem. But because the bass wants to play these nice lines that it goes up and down, I feel there's something that needs to drive the song. But this is more a production thing.
I think more of the sustain of the kick would tide you over a bit and fill that space a little bit more.
because the bass goes so high, then the kick has more room to play some low end. But I think it needs some mid-range to kind of, Anyway, I'm digressing into production now.
All right. Well, I would say something, because we already passed the hour. How many?
Are we?
Yeah, yeah.
7.
How many
I know you
tracks
wanted
have
to
we
do the
got
next one.
left to go?
We had loads submitted. We've got another quite a few in this section.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through.
Oh,
we are
wow.
halfway through, actually.
We are halfway through. Okay, I would say let's speed it up a little bit.
I know Dom really wants to do the next one.
And let's speed it up a little bit.
Okay.
We'll stay a bit longer, but not by too long, because, you know... So let me just say one thing.
We have work to do.
We have work to do. We have to work for you guys, in fact. Just let me say one thing. Well, firstly, thanks to all of the people who are following us right now on Facebook and YouTube. Let me give a little shout to Kahan Glish in Harmony, Guarav, and all the people from YouTube. And yes, I have updated the link to subscribe, because we're getting a few questions. Hey, how can I submit my music? This session is something that we do pretty much every month. Some months we jump because we're too busy mixing and producing. So please sign up to our newsletter. That's where we announce the coming sessions and how to submit your music. Now I have added the correct link to the YouTube and Facebook description. I just tested it. It seems to work. Please check that out. Same thing for everyone on Facebook. I want to say hi to James Mount Stephens, and then to Juan Juarez. Thank you so much. We will keep it going for a little bit longer. And also I have uploaded 3 discounts for our 3 Udemy courses: the one on guitar, the one on mixing, and the one on house music. And through these links you can get 50% discount. I'm talking about 50% discount. It's only valid up until Sunday, and there are only 10 codes per course. So I would hurry up with that. And I will announce in the end who is the winner of the free courses. Also, I think that's it. Let's quickly move through the songs, and let's see what's next.
This one is called Life by Alexis Damian.
James, you're next, by the way.
Yeah, stick around.
Dom, I know you're liking this.
I love it.
Look at you. Look at your smile.
Oh, you mean the track? Yeah. I thought you meant this.
Yeah, this is sweet.
Mm. Hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you say to that, Dom?
I really like it. Honestly, in terms of mix, I mean, to be honest with you, with these, I mean, I do lots of this stuff myself. You know, lots of orchestral music. So it's more about the orchestration rather than the mixing.
That's
If you,
true.
that's when you orchestrate or
Yeah.
when you are, you know, the conductor or something, you're mixing the orchestra. So if you know how to orchestrate and do good MIDI mock-ups, you have like 80% of the job done.
You know
I
what?
think.
Thanks for touching on this, because this is something that a lot of people misunderstand. People think I'm going to record this part, this part, this part, this part, and then I'm gonna have it make sense in the mixing session. It can work like this. It definitely can work like this. But the ideal case scenario is when, by what you're playing and by what you decide to use in terms of orchestration, and when I say orchestration, I mean it, you know, in the widest possible sense. So drums, bass, guitars. Who is taking the lead? Who is the center of attention right that moment? So, Dom, you said it quite right. Composing and arranging and producing is the first step to good mixing, because it's about, you know, the attention of the people. Yeah?
Definitely. And it's not only about, you know, for orchestral music, it's for everything. It's for electronic music, for rock music, for pop music, for whatever music you're making. If you have the right elements, I mean, the first, we've said that many times, but if you're producing something and one sound doesn't work, just scrap it, delete it, just trash it. There's no reason keeping a sound because you're sentimentally attached to it, because you found this preset and you think it works, but it doesn't work. Just, if it doesn't work in the mix, don't wait to fix it in the mix. It's not gonna work. You're just gonna waste too much time fixing stuff.
It adds to the noise floor, and it also masks stuff.
Exactly.
So even if you put it very low, it's still affecting
This
the mix.
works. This works, I think, because you check out the waveform, right? It's dynamic.
Yep.
Number one, it looks right straight away. You can tell it's not squashed. It has this big crescendo. It will work great for film because it starts really quiet, and then when he wants to have the impact, there's impact. I would say just in the big crescendo, you know, you can have a little bit more low end in the contrabasses and the cellos, so that it feels a little bit more the low end, and you feel the woofer of the, you know,
Yeah.
kind of you know, your Dolby surround system on
Your
the
5+1.
Exactly. Little bit more, not too much. I felt it was pretty balanced. The orchestration was very good. You know, the clarinets, the you know, the actual programming was very nicely done.
Yeah.
And I like that because I hate fake sounding orchestrations. He uses good libraries. Um, so, I mean, if anything, I would make it a little bit wider in terms of, placing the instruments in the stereo field. More closer to a real orchestra, and this you can do with various pieces of software. There are some dedicated reverbs again that
Yeah.
can do this and allow you to basically place one instrument somewhere, and then the reverberation takes into account the place, because most stereo reverbs would just send everything through a mono stream and then spread it across.
Okay. Well, listen. I would talk about this track forever, but I think
Yeah.
we need to move on.
Yep.
Just to clarify, Aaron only looks young. He's not young.
I'm not 26 until next week.
Exactly. So, and he's a badass sound engineer, one of the best I've ever worked with. Just
Aw.
to
Yes.
just to clarify.
Second
Sweetheart.
that.
All right. Let's go.
Unless
to the next track.
you're talking about me, which means thanks for the compliment.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, this one's
Cool.
called Now or Never, and it's from James Mount Stephens.
Who's with us? Hey
Yeah.
James, that's for you.
Let's play it. Nice kick.
Everything leads to you. No matter where I turn. Wasted
You heard the same
Yeah,
thing?
wanting to hold you. The world's run away from mine. But oh, I can't let go. Drinking up all my thoughts. Waiting to hold you. The stars are aligned. I've been waiting forever. Only for the night. 'Cause this now and never. Now and never.
Can I stop for 1 second?
Please do.
I love the kick drum. It sounds powerful. I'll tell you one thing straight away. This, this sound on the before the drop, I would want it louder.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
me too. Me too. I was about to say that.
So it's a good sound, and we all know that this leads somewhere, just louder. I mean, of course, it's a fine line between too loud and that the drop sounds less powerful. So it could be like just 1 dB, it depends. But I would forget if I didn't say that.
Talk me up and talk me
Nice.
down. You were my madness. Don't you leave, turn around, or I'll sink in the darkness. You were always on the run. Better get what you're doing. A runaway kind of life. Now I'm caught in the ruins. The stars are aligned.
podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a good track. Yep.
Cool.
Just one observation. Did you watch our heads moving all together? That's when you know you have a good dance track. Because at the end of the day, it's just, does it make you move your head? It did, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
No,
It really
it's very well produced. It has many tricks. You know, I like the reverbs on the vocals. The drums are powerful. The sidechain works. I can even hear the sidechain where the kick drum is not there. That's
Definitely.
you know, it always grooves, even when there's no kick drum, which is something that many people neglect to do. The vocals, in my opinion, I like them. I think they're pop. The way they're mixed, they're very pop. So if it was like a dance floor track, maybe I would make them a little bit darker. But for my taste, I like them bright. It sounds good.
I felt they needed a little bit more de-essing though. You could actually see on the
Yes.
analyzer,
Yes.
Yes.
sort of between 11,
Agreed.
That
sorry,
was
9
my,
and
that was my
11k.
That was my next point.
You could actually see every
Mhm.
time the S comes on, the
Mhm.
analyzer jumps.
Mm-hmm.
If you de-ess quite strongly and control those, it will pull them down. You can then actually brighten them back up afterwards, and it'll be a controlled top end,
Exactly.
which is a
Yeah.
much better way of
With
doing
the
it.
Aosis DSR.
I was
That
about
was
to
much
say
good.
Aosis myself. Exactly.
It's so good, that DSR. I
Hmm.
mean, this Fabrice is a genius. I
Yeah.
don't know this guy. Anyway.
Anyway, you know what? Let's hurry up a
this,
little bit.
This
Have you
is
got
gonna
any
be our
more?
last track.
Oh, we haven't.
Is it?
I don't know. How many have we got there?
I just
Loads.
wanted to say. I mean, look, James. I think it sounds great. Maybe this claps, snaps. When you play with. Maybe I would make them a little bit brighter, just a little bit. The other thing that I would try to kind of show off a little bit more. You have some amazing synths. Especially the one that's a little bit dark that plays the chords. You know, this kind of underlying woo, 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 that's not very bright. I think this is a great sound. So you could probably add a little bit of excitement to it. Maybe there are quite a few things that I could think. Vitamin from Waves, the Exciter from Ozone, the Quadrafuzz from Cubase.
You haven't mentioned my favorite one.
DFXites,
There you go.
because Aaron is gonna kill me if I don't mention that. If you haven't checked it out, it's perfect for everything.
That's actually my favorite plugin.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree. What else? Maybe just to make it a little bit warmer, because it's such a good sound. I think it's a little bit, low in the mix, but it drives the whole harmony. And because the track is a dance track, but I appreciate the fact that it has some really nice chords in there, because some dance tracks are sometimes they tend to be like basically one bass line and nothing else. You have some cool harmonies there, so show them off. The synth sounds, I would in general add some harmonic distortion to the synth sounds. What else? Go for it. And
I
I'll
wanted
just
a
think
little
about-
bit more push and pull between the kick and the hi-hat and relationship. I think the hi-hat maybe was just a little bit too quiet. It's a really nice sort of movement between the two of them. I just wanted a little bit more. It could be that the kick drum is a little bit too long for that. So like if I play this section, what's the home? It sort of bleeds over it a little bit too much. I want to hit it that a little bit more.
I remembered. Okay, sorry.
Go for it.
Okay,
Before you forget.
Before I forget, more plugins for synths to beef them up. Could be PSP Vintage Warmer, really nice.
Yep.
The Slate tape machines is really good. Also, again from Slate, he has this new
Tube collection, you
Tube
mean?
collection, the New York, and all these things. Very good. But even the vintage classic VCC anyway, classic console collection, if you add it to the Neve and drive it all the way up, it will give you lots of girth to the synths, but it won't make them clash with your bass and the low end. You know, it's very subtle, but if you add lots of layers of all these things, you know, synths really appreciate that. I
Cool.
can talk to synths.
You had the same thing towards the beginning that I did, right? In the
Yeah,
kick
there
drum
was
and the low
some
end.
kind of
a weird distortion
Yeah,
thing.
there was some distortion somewhere. I think we both looked
We
at each
both
other,
suddenly leaned in and were like, "Ooh, what's
but
that?"
there was nothing else.
I don't quite know what
elsewhere,
it
so it was
was.
really weird. It
It's
was
a very specific moment.
Yeah.
Just look for that.
And that's how we're late.
Yeah.
So it's here when the vocals. Okay. Yeah, there's like a weird. I think what happens here is probably like a. I don't know what limiter you're using.
It's
But
triggering weirdly.
there are some limiters that when there's low end, and there are some. We did have this with some pieces of hardware. I'm not gonna mention, but this was my main complaint. Not gonna mention what piece of hardware. Very good piece of hardware, but when there was like some specific vocals and low end on the kick drums, very very punchy kick drum like you have, it was kind of giving you like a weird distortion, and there was no way to get rid of it unless you got rid of the limiter basically and used a different limiter.
Yeah.
So if you remove the vocal, no problem. If you remove the kick drum, no problem. But if the both of them together for some reason,
It happens with pianos too, right? Yeah.
you know what I'm talking
I know
about. So
exactly.
yeah.
All right. So how many tracks have you reviewed today?
1, 2,
Can that
3, 4,
James asked,
5,
can that
6,
be cleaned
7.
up? You can clean it up if you 7.
We've gone through 7.
Okay, that's
Yep.
not bad. James, I think yes, but
Yeah.
you know you have to try out a few limiters. You know there are some of them that it's very very. You have to try a few. I'm not sure what you're using. For example, I don't want to name.
No, I know you
some,
don't.
You know, it's like I can't really.
But
But you know, try a few of them. There are some limiters that are very transparent, and you can get away with it without lowering. Of course, you can lower the level, but I guess you want to keep it loud.
send it to us for mixing. We'll take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. You have that option as well.
Also,
But-
I should say we are a little bit secretive about the limiters that we use. Can we
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we can name like 10 limiters. The thing is, you have to have all 10 of them. Use them, of course, software and hardware, and see which one works.
There is no silver bullet.
Exactly. But we tend to know which one will work for any given piece of material.
We do.
Yeah, and you kind of Dom uses different ones sometimes to the ones I use. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I like the ozone more
Mhm.
than some others, and I don't know. Sometimes Dom likes FGX,
Yeah.
or you begin to learn the sound of the limiter quite a
Exactly.
bit, and you know what limiter to reach for.
Yeah, for example,
It's
for a ballad that has piano and it's full of transients and all these rich harmonics, you know which limiters you don't go to. You know,
Yeah.
there are
Right.
some limiters that you got like, I'm not gonna use this. This is gonna ruin it, or I just won't be loud enough.
Yep.
And there are some other limiters that can take it, but they're not very good with more transients and more low end or something like that.
Sometimes I don't
We
use a
also have
limiter.
so many hardware pieces of gear that we combine. Sometimes we get to the level with the software limiter, and then we finish it off with the hardware because it will give us this extra,
Cool.
So I mean, we
All
can
right.
talk about limiters the
Yeah.
whole day.
Yeah, exactly. So
James uses Fab Filter.
Yeah.
Are
I
you
wanna
using
try the
Pro
new
L,
one.
Pro L2? Fab Filter is pretty good. I mean, it's definitely like great limiter.
Yeah, I would say it's probably the settings of the limiter then that's causing
Yeah,
that.
try and play with the attack and the release. Maybe it's like a too long release or something, or too fast. From what I hear, it should be like too long, because it seems that
Mm.
it tries to it or too fast, because
It's kinda like
I
double
don't think
reacting.
it's gonna be it's gonna
No,
save it.
sometimes some limiters just react like that.
Yeah, they
for
can't
whatever
they can't
reason.
really. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's you can solve it by changing the attack and release
Mm.
times. I think it's just the way this.
But there are the different what do they call them? The modes in Pro L, right?
Yes, you can use a different mode, but in my experience, try something else.
Okay.
No, it's
I
it's,
like
it's
that one.
Waves L2. Waves L2.
I never use it on the output.
No, not for this one.
I kind of like the low end of L2.
It will the Waves
cuts
L2
it.
tends in my experience. It's a great limiter for some. We use it a lot for quite a few things.
Hmm.
I feel that it might make your transients a little bit softer.
Yeah, it's
If
known
you
as the
try and
snare
go
killer
loud.
for a reason,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, I'll give you the fast trick. When you have a limiter that is shaving off a little bit the transits a little bit too much, go on and redesign the transit before it hits the limiter, so you enhance it.
Mm.
So by the time it's limited, that problem is resolved. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let me just say just a few shout outs while you guys prepare for the last 3 tracks. And a few shout outs. Thank you, Thor, Paul Lucas, Audio Scouts. Thank you to all the people who are leaving so many comments. And we've got James leaving lots of comments. Malena, thank you so much from Argentina. Obrigado.
Nice
Actually,
name.
muchas gracias. No, aquí hablamos un poquito de español, pero entonces
Wow.
Ben
No
Bendel,
idea.
Mac Anykind, and I just want to announce just quickly the winners of the mixing and mastering course, because I said I would select 10 of them. Let me go quickly through them. Peter from Netherlands, Yel from Italy, Marcus from the Netherlands, James from Northern Ireland, Stuart from the USA, Bob from the UK, Shimon from the USA, Matt from England, Niels from Belgium, and Neville from Guadeloupe. So thank you
Nice.
so much for submitting. We've got so many submissions, and but fear not, we will do this more often. Just make sure you are subscribed to our mailing list, which is you have the link in the description both on YouTube and Facebook. So that's gonna be cool. Guys, let's go for the last 3 mixes quickly. So
Oh,
that,
have
we're
we
gonna
got
go
time for
for
3
3
more?
mixes?
we don't, but let's do. We said we were gonna do 10.
Okay,
I'm gonna do
let's
10.
do 10. Okay,
Okay.
okay. You know what? Should we just give a shout out to the guys that we're going to do, and if somebody's here, then we can go ahead and do it.
All
Sounds
right.
fair?
Okay, that sounds pretty fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what do we have next?
Jonesy Man is the next one's from. Rise
Jonesy
Up
Man.
People.
Jonesy man,
Are you here, Jonesy? Because we're gonna do your track if you're here. We
Let's
also
see.
just give
Just
us
say
a
hi.
shout. Just say hi. We have Nick Kalinak, Wickerman.
Yeah, are you there?
Okay, next we have Shimon Levy.
Levy. I
Levy.
think that is.
I think he just
Uh,
won.
What?
Shimon, I think he just won the course, didn't he? No, was a different one. No, Shimon Levy from the USA.
Okay.
Are we
he's
gonna do
here.
your track, Shimon? Are you online? Let's see if he has any comment on YouTube or Facebook. No comments on Facebook.
We have Sumbi here, so we can definitely do that.
Okay, let's do Sumbi
Okay, let's do
actually.
Sumbi.
That's a
We
that's a
have
good
Sumbi.
idea. Have we got Sumbi there?
He is here.
Of
I've
course.
seen him.
All right, Sumbi, we're gonna do your track then.
Wasn't
All
expecting that intro.
Exactly.
I'll find it. Okay. These are the ones left. What's his name? What was the track name? I didn't see that. Can you change the screen and I'll have a look?
All right. Just let me say one thing. We are trying to find that track from Puen Innocenti from Argentina. We'll see if we can find it, and if we have it, we'll critique it live right now. In the meantime,
Claudio, do you want to go first for this one?
I,
That was a Subi. That's a very different thing than what we're used
yeah,
to, right?
actually, I wasn't used to it. This is like an up. This is a change.
Yeah,
What do
let
you-
me love you.
What do you think, Dom?
I think it's a very solid foundation. I think the guitars could get a little bit of love, you know, a little bit of I don't know, like a slap delay, like a nice chorus to make them a little bit wider, maybe some. I don't know. I was hearing slap delay when I was listening to those guitars. I don't know, a little bit of something like, oh, not a delay, maybe a pre, a reverb with some pre-delay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something, or chorus or something, maybe like duplicate them and add a little bit of why. They're very funky, but I think I need a little bit more funkiness, you know? It's more of a production thing again, but yeah, I think that you can tighten up the low end, the relationship between the kick drum and the bass, because it's a nice bass, it's a nice kick drum. I feel that you can, again, a little bit.
This
more,
is this
yeah.
is we have to say one caveat. This is always personal opinion, right? Because at the end of the day, what we're all selling is our good taste when we compose, when we produce. Of course, there are some standards of being professional or not, but every time we say this and every time we critique something, it's always our personal opinion. So that
Yeah,
that
of
should
course.
be clear, right?
Of course. And
Uh,
he's also singing it, he says.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool. All right.
Let me see. Okay, let's.
Needed more, dude. That's low. No, this is a different one.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're going to different track.
Oh yeah,
where
because
is
we
it?
didn't normalize
found the
this
other
one.
one.
Okay.
This one.
All right.
Did you add any distortion there?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Okay, I will definitely duplicate this vocal in the chorus. If you, I mean, you can sing it. That would be the best way. But I would just do a double track and go left and right, or you can use like a doubler or something. Yeah, dude, that's low.
Dude, that's
Exactly,
low.
dude, that's low.
If I would suggest, if you are going for mixing for this, I would do vocal editing just to polish a little bit, because I think that vocal editing and straighten out the tail of the intonation of each note would help it cut through a little bit more. It would give that sense of I really mean this. So that I think would help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all right, so thank you, Sumbi. And now Pejuan Innocenti.
Yes, he says distortion on the vocal. Yes, I think it works.
I like it.
I like it.
Right.
Maybe just compress a little bit more because it's very kind of aggressive. Really let me love you. Just. Don't choke it because we really want to hear that you're screaming, right? But like also try a few different distortion types. Try and parallel distortion a few different plugins, see what works best, and then blend them in so you can get different flavors, because one rarely works as good as multiple layers of different types of distortion.
All
So,
right,
yeah,
cool.
that's my extra thing.
So we managed to find the mix of Pejuan.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you pronounce it, and we're gonna critique it right now.
I love this organ.
Haces bien, haces mal. Es tu amor o tu maldad. Es la misma enfermedad. Estoy lejos de sentir, de mirar y descubrir quién sos. Un día más, ya son 6. Vos no parás, ni sos tan cruel. Gira y giras al revés. Estoy lejos de sentir, de mirar y descubrir quién sos.
Oh yeah.
Quieras o no, no hay después. El tiempo es hoy, otra vez. Solo
All right.
quiero estar bien.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna
Cool.
critique this one.
go for it.
I think it's a great song. I really love it. I'm passionate about rhythm and blues and this kind of energetic type of music. I thought that the vocals were a bit thin compared to everything else. I thought that the kick drum was falling behind a little bit in the choruses. I felt that everything else was taking over a little bit too much. But I definitely like the vibe. I definitely like the balance. Love the guitar solos. Pejuan, are you the guitar player on this? Yeah, and Paul Lucas says really good vocals on this one. I agree. Great performance. And on the mix, it was pretty well mixed. I think it could be improved, and especially I think in the low mids of the vocals, I think they could get a little bit fatter there, and the kick drum tended to drown just a little bit. What do you guys think?
I felt I was missing. I love the organ, by the way, but I felt I was missing a little bit of. The vocals seemed a little bit disconnected to everything else, just because there was no space around them. I would add like some delay. I also felt they needed more compression. Sometimes they felt like they were jumping out of the speakers. So I would definitely use like a fast compressor that can actually take this kind of fast run, because she's very dynamic. So something that can kind of tame when she goes like this type of thing. And definitely like a delay, even dark. It doesn't have to sound like a delay, but something that can actually kind of just blend the vocals inside the
Gel.
mix. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, listen, we are super late. We were supposed to do 1 hour. We've done 1 hour and 40. Mark May's snare. We don't have time to do one more, but we are going to critique your track as the first track next session. I promise you that. Please send me an email on info@drmix.com and remind me of that. Actually, guys, I think this is quite a good idea. What I think we should do is we have to find a way where the people who are online, we go with their mixes first. Guys,
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
I think that would work a lot better because we can actually establish a communication and answer question at the same time.
Mm.
So let me figure this out, guys. You know, I will think about it a little bit how we can arrange it. But yeah, definitely next mix critique, we're gonna do this a lot better. So just a few words to close this. Thank you to all the people who joined us today. Koflo Ferreira, dope track. I agree that. Thank you to everyone who shared this. And yes, all the discount codes, all the offers are in the description, and we are going to send individually the prizes to the 10 people who were selected on this occasion. So you guys want to say goodbye?
Cheers,
Right.
guys.
Bye,
See
guys.
ya.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Lots of love from Dr. Mix. Keep on being inspired. Make great music. Stay beautiful. And Merry Christmas. How's that? And now I have to actually interrupt the streaming, which I'm going to do right now. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.